You hear a lot about China, but actually seeing it and seeing it in the context of this learning environment has been invaluable.
Understanding different cultures and how they operate and the impact that that has on relationships, on doing business is absolutely critical.
If I'd been on this course 8 or 10 years ago when we first entered the Chinese market, it would have made life a lot easier.
The advantage of location-based learning and the opportunity to actually visit companies is that you get the chance to ask people questions firsthand.
The most important part of what I want them to get out of this experience is what this means for what they need to do in their individual companies to really drive growth in these very up-and-coming and challenging emerging markets.
We've taken the participants through a journey that has seen them think about who they are as New Zealand business owners, business executives, and we've taken them from that to the realities of doing business in emerging markets.
I guess that one of the things that we need to know about is really how to operate in any new market, whether it's a developing market or an emerging market. And while there are differences between those two, generally there are things that we have to know and understand better.
You can talk a lot about a different market, but really when you go there and you see it and you hear it and you smell it, but also particularly when talking to these business owners and really finding out what their true issues are, it makes it far more memorable and impactful rather than just having some third party tell you about it.
I've gained a better understanding of why China is where it is and what has driven it, a form of collectivism in its politics. Also a very much improved understanding of why its finance commercial approach is organised the way it is and where it's come from.
We cannot say that government intervention is all bad, because it was because of the government intervention in 2008 during the financial crisis that many Chinese companies have survived that crisis.
You know, from the outside, the impression that we all get is that China is just booming ahead completely and it's growing at a huge rate and so on. But to be here and actually hear some of the challenges and the issues which China is facing as a result of that and how it's going to deal with those, I think has been a real insight.
Getting out into the factories, the Chinese factories, seeing these big companies and where they've grown from, it's just mind-blowing, and to see what you can do in a market like China.
The value of coming to China and to Shanghai as an example is to actually get a sense of feeling what it's like to do business and to get confronted with some of the values and some of the behaviors that we necessarily would not understand if we've never done business in this part of the world.
I would highly recommend this program, and there's one significant reason for that, and that is that New Zealand is an geographically isolated place, and often what we do in New Zealand is develop successful businesses and operations in New Zealand, and then we take them offshore if we can. And what this program is about is actually changing that thinking around so that we are thinking globally and acting in different locations locally. And that's a really important shift that New Zealand businesses have to make.
Next up is a trip to San Francisco, where participants are going to be confronting business models of mature markets. And what's going to be really exciting, it's the fact that given that they've just been to China, they will be able to compare and contrast what mature and emerging markets look like. Surely an opportunity for great learning.